Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Matt Jarbo here, $3 Theaters, Hollywood After Dark. We have a lot to talk about today. It's actually kind of a busy Sunday night, if I'm being honest with y'all. So basically what we're going to be going over today is Black Adam's release date. The FALCON the Winter Soldier is apparently being called racist. Star Wars Theory is getting a little bit of heat on the Twitters, and I'm going to be talking about the Lindsay Ellis situation to the best of my idiotic ability right now. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to Hollywood After Dark. I would have gone a little bit earlier tonight, but unfortunately my children have decided that the bedtime we previously assigned to them simply wasn't good enough. And unfortunately, that is just the situation we find ourselves in. But first, before we dive into what's going on tonight, let me say quickly hello to the chat. We have Garrick Jack says, let's go. My question to you, Jack, are you high tonight? Because I know you talked about edibles the other night. Bradley, how's it going? Alvy, what's cracking? Anthony, how you doing? Arkham Gaming, what's up? Shidoko, Some 8, and that should be Tony. All right, I see you guys are here. So, yeah, tonight, I don't know. I kind of wanted to dive into more streaming and more topics and more things along those lines. So, let's see how things go. I did invite a couple people in. We'll see if they're going to come. If not, it's cool. But before we get into the news, let's take a look here at what you guys are saying in the chat. Garrick here says, Schwarzenegger has Terminator. Stallone has Rocky and Rambo. Do you think Black Adam will be The Rock's franchise? No, I don't. Everything that guy has done in regards to trying to establish a franchise for himself has always been met with what's the word I want to use here? He goes in strong, right? He goes in hot. He says this is the biggest and best thing. And then when it doesn't go his way, he dips out. Now, I think Jungle Cruise has the chance to get a couple sequels out of it when we finally see it. I think there's another Jumanji movie kind of rounding out that as a trilogy. I know there's going to be more Hobbs and Shaw. And I know it doesn't seem like I'm being fair to The Rock. The guy's seriously a hard worker, but he's got to headline something. And I know he's hoping Black Adam is it. But let's be realistic here, guys. Let's be 100% realistic. When it comes to the nonsense that Warner Brothers is putting out there, obviously, not everything is fine. There's a lot of rotten stuff in Denmark. I know Garrick here goes on to say, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. Jason Statham has been the transporter. Even Seagal has Under Siege. Well, look, Seagal is Under Siege, but we've only seen Under Siege 1 and Under Siege 2, and that was in the 90s. So I get what you're trying to say, but The Rock does have Jumanji 1 and Jumanji 2, as well as Fast 5, Fast 6, Fast 7, Fast 8, Hobbs and Shaw, and definitely Fast 10. So, I would argue that the Fast and Furious franchise is definitely something he is a part of. But I see what you're trying to say there. I definitely know that. All right. So Bradley here says, what's up, y'all? How you doing? Alvy says, I enjoy Boulder Talk Radio, but this is just way more wholesome. Dude, I like Boulder Talk too, but it's not where I want to put my focus entirely right now. And the reason why is because, I just turned 39 2 days ago. I got a year left of my 30s. I want to build something. You know what I mean? I want to build something that in a year I can look back on and go, I wasn't just wasting time. And it's not that Boulder Talk is terrible. I like it. I like the joking. I like the callers. I like going off on the weirder stuff. And I want to still do that, but I might limit it to 1 day a week. And that's just because I don't want to overdo myself. I'd rather build this up and build up $3 Theater and build up Patio Commentary over things that I'm passionate about, instead of just making dick and fart jokes all the time, which I enjoy. I really enjoy making dick and fart jokes. But the problem ultimately boils down to timing. I only have so much time, so I have to put it where I want to put it. I'd rather, look, I don't know if you guys saw this. I did the Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Mythical Unicorn episode of Patio Commentary, and that was a lot of fun. It's getting a lot of great feedback. and that's where I want to put a lot of my time, but that takes a couple hours to write and research and record and get up there, So that's a time investment, but that's a time. And if I wasn't doing this, I'd have more time for something like Boulder Talk, because then I'd have more free time. You see, that's really what it boils down to. I know it's not what everybody wants. Jack here says this is a family friendly. No, it's not. No, it's not a family friendly show, Jack. Fuck you, it ain't. No, this is family friendly. It's Hollywood After Dark. It's where we make jokes about things in Hollywood that are what they are. So there's that one. By the way, what does TFATWS stand for? That stands for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a long title for a show. And Alvy here saw that up there. All right, so let's see here. Geeks here says, happy birthday again. Thank you very much. Shidoko says, I feel you, Matt. Rather build something that will last rather than destroy what's there. Exactly. I'd rather build something up. But Garrick here continuing his point. Nobody remembers The Rock's skyscraper. Same with Baywatch, Rampage, and Hercules. I do think that Rampage is getting a sequel. Hercules was his first big attempt at kind of like going out on his own in a big movie. And of course, Baywatch crashed and burned, and it wasn't that good of a movie. All the funny stuff was in the trailer. I've heard Rampage was good. I haven't seen it yet. I actually think I own it, but I haven't watched it. I need to watch it. Jack here says, happy 40. I'm not 40 yet, dude. I have a year. I have 363 days till I turn 40. I have some time, but I want to build up some stuff. I want to build up some stuff with you guys and get good things going and things like that. So, all right, we've been on for a few minutes here, letting people kind of come on in. Fantastic. I figure we'll talk about the first big story of the night. This is one that's non-controversial, but of course, today, Dwayne The Rock Johnson revealed Black Adam's release date. This is one that a lot of people have been waiting for. It had an original release date, I believe, of this year, December of this year. They are going into production pretty soon. They are going to make this movie here pretty soon. But it's still having trouble getting off the ground. And I think this has a lot to do with Warner Brothers in general. I don't think it's just COVID. I think Warner Brothers, I don't know. I mean, The Rock is a pretty big force to reckon with. And I think, I'm hearing rumors that he wants to bring in Henry Cavill, that, put that in like a pocket universe of what's going on with DC. That whole thing's a mess right now. The whole thing is crazy with Restore the Snyderverse and whether or not we're going to get more. And I think right now, The Rock is the person that everyone should be focusing on to push that message through, because him and Henry Cavill do in fact share the same agent. So I do think that will be the thing. Actually, H Bart's here, $5 says, you think Dwayne can get Warner Brothers to let Henry Cavill come back? Yes, I do. I actually really do on that one, because The Rock has enough power. While I have made the joke that I don't think he's a movie star, he is definitely an entertainer. He is definitely a star, and he definitely has pull. So I think if anyone can restore the Snyderverse, it's going to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because all he has to do, and this is what fans should be pushing for, is he should go onto Instagram and go like #restore the Snyderverse. And if fans, I'm saying if he tweeted out or he put on Instagram Restore the Snyderverse, and I don't believe he has, that would break the internet. That would be the key thing, because then you've got the star of your new movie, who is a big worldwide sensation, who is buddies with Zach and buddies with Henry. And he's like, Restore the Snyderverse. That's going to be something that Ann Sarnoff is going to be like, Hamada and Emmerich are going to be, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, don't actually do that. They're going to do that sort of thing, because they really don't have much else to go on here. And this is, so if you want, and this is the thing, if you want to see the future of the Snyderverse, I understand 1.5 million tweets, man. That's awesome. I know there's been people out there that are like, the toxic fans are the review bombing Godzilla v Kong. What, 25 shitty reviews on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. 25, the toxic 1.5 million tweets. 25 people have left a negative comment. 25. Okay. Yeah, sure, fine. You want to run on that narrative? I think we can, like, oh my God, that is the stupidest thing. This is honestly one of the reasons why I want to push Hollywood After Dark as much as I want to, because I, honest to God, am so tired of these clickbait journalists that are just pushing this stuff. And we need some accountability, and we need some authenticity, and we need some passion, and we need some righteousness. And I think, this is something that we fans have to do. But anyway, so The Rock did reveal everything today. And he did so at first by posting this.
5,000 years ago, Kahndaq was a melting pot of cultures, wealth.
So he posted this, and this is the reveal from DC Fandom. And he was letting everybody know something is coming. Something is happening. Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned, fans of Black Adam. Stay tuned. We're going to get some information, motherfuckers, and that's what's going to happen today. So he dropped this little teaser. And it's a cool little teaser. I want to make sure not to get... I've already gotten copyright claim from Warner Brothers twice. One more and I lose my channel. I got to be careful. Warner Brothers, this is considered fair use. I am commenting over this thing from last summer. But on Instagram, he did then go on and drop this reveal, which I'm not going to lie. This looks pretty cool. This is him in Times Square.
The hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he did. He just, he had this reveal, this like 5-second reveal playing in Times Square. Look, I mean, the audio is kind of shit, but it was pretty cool nonetheless, because when you think about it, it's like he was in Times Square in New York, and all of a sudden there's just like a ton of stuff out there, right? A ton of things. Just his voice everywhere, and everyone's hearing it. And like the God himself is speaking down to mortal man. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the anti-hero Black Adam, is coming to you. July 29th, 2022. And that's a significant date, by the way. All right. Yes, Jack, I see that. Yeah. Watch out. Warner Bros. Is going to clap my cheeks. Probably. It's why I'm going to let it sit over on this channel before I upload it to the other one. But the way I view it is this. That's a cool-ass reveal, for one. I'm very happy that he got his reveal like that, because it shows you that he's taking it seriously and that he's going to promote it. And we know that when it comes to Warner Brothers, their marketing is terrible. We know this. This isn't even up for debate at this point in time. It's terrible stuff. So it's going to be very cool to see what happens next with everything. So Andrew here, $5. Thank you so much. He says, do you think there's any validity to the mumblings that Dwayne is butting heads with Warner Brothers and is a fan of the Snyderverse? You know what, man? I would say, honestly, at this point, yeah, I do think that. And the reason why I do think that has everything to do with the fact that Danny Garcia is Henry Cavill's agent, and The Rock has been supportive of the Snyder Cut. He's openly stated he is wanted to go against Superman. He's wanted to fight Superman in the movies. Him and Henry Cavill, they're good friends. It makes every sense in the world that he would be, on board of trying to bring in Henry Cavill for this franchise, for this part of the universe. And I think, like I said before, if anyone is going to save the Snyderverse, it's probably going to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And so again, the thing you have to think about here is, Warner Brothers brought in J.J. Abrams. Like, they spent like $250 million, $250 million, I think, to get him for 5 years. And we hear about Justice League Dark. Okay, cool. But then we hear about Ta-Nehisi Coates, and he's doing the Black Superman, Val Zod, with J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams, who has wanted to do Superman for a long time, wrote Superman Flyby a long time ago. And, that movie that McG was going to direct, and Henry Cavill was actually cast as Superman in, by the way. But if he wanted to tackle Superman, why isn't he tackling Superman with this, right? Why isn't he tackling Superman with this at all? And he should be, because that's kind of his go-to, right? Remember, Star Wars, Star Trek. He boosts up these franchises, at least from like a geekdom perspective. He launches them. So if he's going to be rebuilding the DCEU, then of course you think he would start with Superman. What I think is that, and again, JJ is friends with Zack Snyder. It's one of those things. It's like where James Gunn was let go, and nobody wanted to do anything. You know, so it's one of those issues where it's very fascinating to see what exactly is going to be happening next. And yes, I completely agree with Jack here when he says The Rock is the key. And so if you agree with me that The Rock is the key, then let me know. Like, hit one in the chat. I think that's going to be pretty good. I definitely get to that, but we'll dive into the next topic right now. Okay, actually, hold on, guys, 1 second. I'm getting a message from my girlfriend, my daughter, my 1-year-old. I need to go put a blanket on her real quick. Do I have anything loaded up that's some long? Damn it, I don't. But give me a hot second to go and put a blanket on my daughter. I'll be right back. I know. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Here's a topic for you. Would you want to see a movie with any kind of digital creation, like a hologram movie that is able to then, take all your favorite dead celebrities and put them in something and make it a thing? I don't know. Talk amongst yourself. Okay. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. You know how it is, right? You got kids. My daughter's asleep on the couch. My other daughter is cuddling with my girlfriend because they're having trouble sleeping. Got to do the dad thing for a second. So let me get a sip of water and let's see. We'll take a look here. H. Bart's here says, I'm fine with JJ Superman as long as Cavill's still around. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, man. I think if Cavill was still around, I'd be okay. I don't care about, look, I'm fine with Val Zod. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that. I have no problem with anything that's going on, really. I want the Snyderverse to maintain. That's what I want. I want the Snyderverse to remain. That's it. I think that's a fair request. I think that's the thing. Anyway, let's see. You do suck here says, can you put a blanket on me too? Sure. Cuddle up, kiddo. Cuddle up. You want a throw? You want a shawl? You want a comforter? Let me know. Cosmic here says the deep fake stuff should not be a thing in movies. You know what, man? And here's the thing. I agree with you. But when it's used effectively, like Peter Cushing in Rogue One, and that was used effectively, it kind of opens the door for some interesting productions. Is that to say that I want like Robin Williams or Paul Walker coming back from the dead in order to be in these movies? Oh God, no. No. Like, I took Paul Walker's death very seriously. That seriously bothered me for a long time. So did Robin Williams' death. And no, I wouldn't want that at all. So it's kind of a weird thing, but it's like, again, in like the context of like, is it a character from a franchise? Like, how many Fast and Furious fans would be okay if they brought back the deep fake of Paul Walker because, they wanted to finish it out with Brian because he was, would they be okay with it? And I think a lot more people would be okay with it than not, even though I don't agree, even though I think deep down it would bother the ever living shit out of me. So there's that. Okay. All right. What do I think of Warner Brothers doing a Zatanna movie? It makes sense. This is the thing. This is what Warner should do. They should treat these minor characters like they did Joker. $50-60 million budget. Get a decent enough director, right? Low budget, mid budget this shit, and make a whole bunch of these movies to introduce the normal audience to these characters, and then build them up into something major. Look what Marvel's doing. Marvel is taking their B-level characters and they're giving them TV shows. WandaVision became the #1 show in the world. The Falcon and Winter Soldier is doing pretty well, although it's not as heavily talked about, which is unfortunate. Not yet, at least. We're going to be getting into some stuff here, I think, in the next couple of weeks. But that's a factor. and then like Miss Marvel and Moon Knight and She-Hulk and everything else, those guys are going to start off on Disney Plus and then work their way into the majors. And Feige is smart for doing it that way. So when you've got this whole situation and, with the way Warner's is doing it, like give these people mid-budget films and let the audience get to know them. Or put them on HBO Max and give them a show and let the audience get to know them there. And that becomes the issue. Is Warner's, is it cohesive? Does it understand the market well enough to do this? And honestly, I simply do not know. I simply do not know. Is JJ Superman confirmed to be black? It's Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing it. So yeah, it's going to be that. All right. Hey, what's going on, Lord Slug? How you doing, buddy? Where do I think, okay, hold on. Music Man asks, where do I think the Green Lantern show will go? I literally have no idea. I literally have like no idea where it's going to go. Jack here simply says Elizabeth Olsen is hot. Yes, I don't think anyone here is going to disagree with you on that one there, Jack. All right. And H Bart's here. Another $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says, remember when Henry Cavill made that Superman toy video? Yeah, that was weird, man. That was a weird thing, because that was a Danny Garcia play. I don't know how well it worked out, to be honest with you, because he still hasn't come back as Superman in anything new since then. All right. Do I think Warner Brothers will stop trying to copy the MCU? I mean, look, they could copy it, but they'd have to like go back to the basics and then build up to something. And they could copy it just fine. Just follow the blueprints left behind by Kevin Feige, and you can find success. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that they should, but the smart business move would be for them to do it. That's the smart business move. It's not me as a fan. I like the darker, grittier stuff. The stuff that talks about philosophy and makes you think. A lot of the things that Zach did, that's what I liked about it. And a lot of people have started like that as well. So that's something we can consider. All right, real quick here before I jump into the next story. Did I hear the rumor that the Flash movie will bring the Titans in the DCEU? Then they will develop a Teen Titans movie with the Teen Titans. I don't know, man. Oh, are you saying Titans from HBO Max DC Universe show? At this point with the multiverse, that would make sense. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. What did the Flash say to Iris? Do you want a hot dog? That's what he says. Do I think the Flash will be at least an all right film? I don't know, man. I like the production team, but I do not like the screenwriter. So I really hope that they retool a lot of her shit. H Bart's here. Another $5 super chat. It says King Shark reminds me of Patrick from SpongeBob. Really? I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I really like Sylvester Stallone as King Shark in that, just in that trailer. I thought that was great. Like, I think he's going to steal the show. He's just like Groot stole the show with Guardians. King Shark is going to have some solidly good lines. So there's that. Ozymandias here asks, whatever happened to that New Gods freaking movie? Tom King is apparently still writing it. Ava DuVernay is still attached to direct it. No one cares. Like the Eternals, no one cares. And I'm really wondering if that's because when it comes to the cosmic side of shit, people either they're just not ready for it or they just don't care. But like Marvel has been sitting on the Eternals for a long time. Chloe Zhao getting nominated for Best Director, I think in Best Film with Nomadland is definitely going to be something that they're going to push as maybe having another Marvel movie that could potentially be a Best Picture nominee. But I just feel like no one is really interested in no one is really interested in the Eternals or the New Gods. Now that we've got Darkseid and we've seen Darkseid and Ray Porter rocked it as Darkseid. Don't you think that's what people want to see? I do. That's what I want to see, at least. All right, let's get into the next tale here that I wanted to talk about. First things first. Oh yeah, for everyone who wants to drop super chats, I'm going to be giving away at the end of April. I got this Baby Yoda glass cup where we got this one side of Baby Yoda with the butterfly, and the other side you can see through the reflection or through the glass is Baby Yoda with a ball. I'll be giving that away at the end of the month. So if you guys want to potentially run in on that one, just make sure to subscribe to Hollywood After Dark, and super chats will get you in the door. I'm a horrible shill, but I appreciate the love. All right, I want to talk about this Falcon and the Winter Soldier thing because it's so utterly ridiculous. Let me just bring that up right here because it's so stupid. Okay. So when we talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's right now, a lot of people really like it. It's definitely like more of the Captain America Winter Soldier vibe, like a 1970s political thriller type movie or type TV show. But I saw this article pop up the other day, and it was talking about how Battlestar, there's some slight spoilers, by the way, for the last episode if you haven't seen it. But it says here, Falcon and Winter Soldier might be committing a classic MCU sin. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I realized, the black sidekick, right? Like they're trying to criticize that. And it just feels like this is inverse, attempting to, like, I don't know, like kind of ruffle some feathers for no other reason than just to ruffle some feathers. So this is what they said. Marvel just introduced some major new characters to its cinematic universe. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2 gives us a surprisingly nuanced take on John Walker, aka the new Captain America. We also meet the original Black Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, and his grandson and Young Avengers to be Elijah. And then there's Battlestar, which they did. They introduced all these characters, and it's kind of like they're almost setting up like Luke Cage's return, which is something I was reading about, I think, on Mikey Sutton on Geekosity's website today. That this is potentially setting up a return for Luke Cage, which would be fantastic. God damn it, give me some more Mike Coulter. Now, the new Captain America's best friend has a surprisingly complex Marvel Comics history of its own, one that's further complicated by his apparent role in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. You got to love how it starts off like, it's complicated, right? It's further complicated. Anyway, let's find out more. Lamar Hoskins first appeared in the episode as John Walker's friend. But when the new Captain America showed up later to help Sam Wilson and Bucky, Lamar is quickly elevated to sidekick status. Soon afterward, we learn that he's taken on the superhero name Battlestar, a reveal that disgusts both Sam and Bucky. Well, again, he was kind of already, when you see him in the first part of the episode, he's already basically the sidekick. He's talking up his buddy, but he's already the best friend. So if anything, he would be the sidekick. So it's kind of like they already established that. I think it's kind of a ridiculous thing here. But anyway, what's the problem with Battlestar? The character has a long and interesting history in the comics, but his appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe opens up a conversation with one of superhero franchise's worst and most dangerous tropes, and one that we'd hoped is already behind us. It's like, again, find anything you can to nitpick, and go with it. So they start talking about who Battlestar is, right? So it says here, so Lamar Hoskins becomes Battlestar and a partner in crime fighting to Captain America. Battlestar later fought against John Walker, the character that becomes U.S. agent, and he sides with the real Captain America in the crossover comic event Civil War. So, I mean, there's a history there, but as we know, when it comes to Kevin Feige in the MCU, this is what's going on. But anyway, let's get into why they're upset. So when Battlestar was introduced in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Marvel is careful not to make the same mistake again. Lamar Hoskins clearly identifies himself as Walker's partner and not sidekick. But wasn't this whole thing predicated on it committing a cardinal sin? Right, here we go. Now, the way the scene is framed also echoes this idea. Sam and Bucky, clearly equal partners, sit opposite from these two new characters. Marvel's message here is clear. There are no sidekicks in this car. But what is really happening? And will anyone who watched Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 2 come away thinking Battlestar is anything but John Walker's sidekick? From their corny high five atop a moving truck to Lamar's already apparent role as the tech guy, it seems Marvel is slipping into sidekick territory, and not for the first time. Like, does anyone care about Battlestar? I mean, we've only got one episode with the guy, right? We've only gotten one interaction with him, but does anyone actually even like give a shit about this? To me, it's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of stupid. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, come on, guys. What are you doing? What are you doing here? And I'm talking about inverse, they go on. The MCU has a long and documented history of casting actors of color as sidekicks to white superheroes, from Ned in the Spider-Man movies to Maria Rambeau and Captain Marvel to even Captain America franchise with Anthony Mackie in Winter Soldier. It's hard to not see a pattern of white superheroes supported by non-white sidekicks. Is Battlestar continuing the same trend intentionally or otherwise? Well, Maria Rambeau wasn't even really the sidekick to Captain Marvel. She was her friend, so she was her equal in regards to the dynamic of that particular movie. So that's a load of shit. And Monica Rambeau, we've already seen establish her own clear agency from watching WandaVision. Ned Leeds was a white dude in the comics, and then he was moved over to being, I believe Filipino is who is who that actor is. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am. So they did, they did race swap that character. And so it's like, these are like, this is one of those things that's just, it's being nitpicky. It's being nitpicky for the sake of being nitpicky. Now it goes on to say here, that there's a reason to believe that Battlestar's Falcon and the Winter Soldier story will be a powerful one. The comic book history of the character certainly paves the way, both in terms of how the late Dwayne McDuffie's feedback changed Battlestar's trajectory, as well as the events in the comics themselves. So eventually Battlestar does side with Steve Rogers. So, I mean, and US agent, it's going to kind of be a bad guy. So are they going to make him a bad guy or whatever? It's just, I don't know. I read this story and I think to myself, like, come on, guys, like, what are you doing here? This is just like ridiculous nonsense. It's just another way to go, are they committing the cardinal sin? Well, what cardinal sin is that? Oh, the cardinal sin of casting a person in a show? I mean, if they've already done the race swap thing, which some people complain about, I generally don't care as much. I like the actor for Ned, so that's fine. And in this case, this guy kind of comes across as douchey. He kind of comes across, he's going to be a villain. We've seen these kind of tropes play out before. Wouldn't it be more appropriate to spend your time writing about how this could potentially be a trope of storytelling versus trying to pigeonhole an argument that doesn't even really have a lot of things going for it outside of that one paragraph of, well, we've seen, like, are they going to go, oh, Rhodey, like James Rhodes, he was a sidekick to Iron Man. He was black. Like, no, because Rhodey's his own character. These are their own characters. They're getting their introduction in there. It just comes across as a way for somebody to nitpick something that doesn't ultimately need to be there. All right, let's see here. I did miss a super chat from HBarts. King Shark. Oh, no, we already saw that one. Hold on. There's another one there. Are words banned for super chats? I'm not too sure. I have some filters on. I'm not too sure that I have to go look. But I don't know. I'm sorry, man. And then Jason Nelson with the $3 super sticker. Thank you very much. And the 300 asks here, thoughts on that 5'1" guy's video? This is not really the place for that, but I appreciate the super chat and I'll answer your question. So my birthday was 2 days ago. Happy birthday to me. That's all I'll really say about that. That's all I really say about it. There's a lot more I could say about it, but I won't. I will say though, happy birthday to me. It was a good one. It was funny. I love that it exists. I love that we all see exactly what happened. And no matter how much bloviating and spin on Twitter this particular person is trying to say, that it ultimately fell short because, like, we're talking 5'1" here, right? It's so funny. Some days it's good to be on the internet. Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, Andrew here says, what a waste of time to write that article. I completely agree. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, Runs with Caesar says, but where's War Machine's film? Well, no, Armor Wars is coming to Disney Plus, so they are going to be giving Rhodey his own show. They're going to be giving Rhodey his own show. And I've been a Don Cheadle fan for like fucking decades, dude, so I am so stoked for that. Let's see here. Is Ray Fisher blacklisted? At this point, no. No, he's not. When he was on Enosh's channel last night, he actually was from a hotel room while he's working on a show. He's in like this, doing the show about, oh my God, Emmett Till's mother trying to get justice for the death of her son. If you don't know that story, this is not really the place for that. Google it, look it up. That's a horrible story. It's one of the things that kicked off the civil rights movement. It is a terrible, tragic story. And the ending, oh my God, the ending will make you mad. Because you want to talk about like no justice. Oh my God. Yeah. It, like the whole thing with Emmett Till. I'll put it to you guys like this, in the context of where we are culturally speaking. You know, a white woman said that Emmett Till, I think like hit on her or like touched her inappropriately or something like that. And he was brutally killed for it. And so they canceled him. If you want to look at it in the sake of cancel culture, I know this is a terrible comparison, but it's kind of like that's how it was back then with those kind of accusations. It wasn't like a Twitter mob. This was a real mob. They killed him. It was so bad that they couldn't even do an open casket. I think that's how bad it was. And then the woman basically later on, like many, many, many decades later, admitted she made the whole thing up. You know, like this kid's dead. It's like 13-year-old kid died because she lied. You know, it's a powerful story. It's a powerful story. And it's one that I'm looking forward to watching, because it's one of those things that it's like, you talk about the dark stain on our history, on our country. That's a very dark stain on our country. And just, you know, I mean, you can argue that good came from it in regards to the movement and the passing of the civil rights, bills back in, I think, 64. But look at what started it. You know what I mean? Like, it took something so heinous to finally trigger people enough to do it. And that's the thing. So no, Ray isn't, I know, I don't want to get too political. Ray isn't, that's not even really political. That's, I think, just like, you know, being a decent human to talk about it, but I understand. Ray is not blacklisted. He's not blacklisted. He may not work for Warner Brothers, but there's a lot of other people that might hire him. So there's that one. All right. Okay. Cannonball Run is getting rebooted. Why? No, you don't need to bring back Cannonball Run if you don't have Dom DeLuise or Burt Reynolds or Dean Jones, Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, like, my God, man, if you don't, no, you don't reboot. What are they going to do? Bring TikTok stars in? Fucking star Ashton Kutcher? No, I'm fine. I love Cannonball Run, not the sequel. Not the sequel. Sequel was terrible. But the first one also had Jackie Chan in it too. I think he was a Chinese guy playing a Japanese guy. Ooh, talk about appropriation on that one right there. That'd get the movies of old would get canceled today. Let's just be fair on that one here. All right. H Bart's here. Another $5 super chat. Says, if the multiverse theory is real in some world, Justice League 2 and 3 already happened. Well, yeah, that yes. If the multiverse is real in that regard, then it could have happened, and they could pick up after the fact. I mean, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. I would hope that they would keep it with a narrative storytelling, position, because I think, to me personally, that's what I think a lot of fans want, is to see those stories played out. And once they finish Justice League 2, Justice League 3, by all means, feel free to reboot after that. Just give us this arc. But at the same time, it's like, Marvel is like one Iron Man, one Captain America. They're going to go bring in other people and whatnot. And it's like, DC is just going to reboot all that shit again because they really got nothing else going for them. It's just so true. So terrible. Let's see here. Mr. Fahrenheit asks the question, do I think Godzilla vs. Kong will reach 1 billion at the box office? No, not even close, man. It's going to top it. Maybe I'm going to give it it's going to top out at like maybe 400, I would say. And that's a high fucking estimate. Tenet did 300 million worldwide and some change when it came out, and it was like the canary in the coal mine. This one should probably do a bit better. It's doing well in China. But we'll have to see how well it's going to do here, because I can watch it in my local theater on Thursday, and on Wednesday I can see it. On Wednesday at 3 p.m. I might go. I might just sneak out, go see it early. Brave the theater in order to go see Godzilla v Kong, but or I can watch it on Friday on HBO Max. So it's a tough one. It's a real tough one because you don't really know it all. You just don't really know. Let's see here. Did I see that somebody edited Henry's head for the ending of Shazam? I did see that, actually. Yes, I did. That to me was hysterical. I really, really, really appreciated that little gag. I think. Did I retweet that? I might have retweeted that because I saw it today. I'll bring it up if I did, but if I didn't, then I don't. Oh crap! No, I didn't do it. I'm sorry, guys. I did not do it. Okay. And so let's see here. Where's my next? All right. So I did want to talk about. This is probably get me in maybe a little bit of trouble tomorrow. But I want to talk here about this particular tweet. So Star Wars Theory is, I would argue that Star Wars Theory is relatively controversial. Okay. That Star Wars Theory is relatively controversial. And as a result of that, like he ends up getting himself in a little bit of crap sometimes, especially when dealing with people on Twitter who, let's be fair, are generally pretty freaking stupid. So he has this tweet here where he says, one of the only things I want from the Obi-Wan show is Anakin Order 66 Jedi Temple flashbacks. Skywalker just destroying Jedi Padawans, Knights, Masters with ease. That's my only gripe with Revenge of the Sith. I want to see the Chosen One go ballistic. Do not hesitate. Show no mercy. And the thing is with that is it's an interesting take. It's kind of an interesting take. Like, you have this very soft-spoken, very emotional Canadian who cried at Luke Skywalker now wanting to see his father decimate children. And I get what he's trying to say. Obviously, at this point, he's trying to say something along the lines of just, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we saw this? Wouldn't it be cool if we got to see this kind of going full ham situation? Which doesn't necessarily tie into the concept of the Obi-Wan show in general. But a lot of people, they ain't having this, right? Like you got this guy here, DMCF64 says, yeah, the one thing missing from Revenge of the Sith was more gratuitous murder. Also, they should play Linkin Park over Anakin slaughtering Jedi. That would be super badass. Also, make a scene afterward where Anakin goes home and fucks Padme. Revenge of the Sith is basically perfect otherwise. Dude, he just got wrecked. He just got wrecked on that one so hard. Ever Enemy here says it's a show for family children. Fortunately, those children grow up and wish to see more darker content. Maybe someday we'll get it. Which is, look, that's a fair assessment right there. I'll be very fair on that one. I do like the darker, grittier stuff. Being a 39-year-old dude who grew up with Star Wars, I wouldn't mind seeing them go that route. That being said, I love Star Wars Rebels. I love Star Wars Clone Wars, which is definitely more mature than even like the original trilogy to an extent. And I really like Star Wars Resistance, which is probably its most kid-friendly series outside of the Forces of Destiny, which they're cute. But I love the Star Wars fans are just like, they're just tearing Theory apart. They're just tearing him apart. It says, this is a real tweet. You really typed this out. It's a shame that somebody is such as a following for producing that has such a following for producing Star Wars content doesn't actually understand Star Wars at all. I feel sorry for you. And this is actually a very fair point from Steve here. And the reason why I say that is because when you think about it, Star Wars Theory, what he is asking for here is a complete departure from the ideas and the ideals that Lucas espoused with his original films. The thing is, like, when you talk about Star Wars, like Star Wars in its essence is very anti-imperialistic, but the Empire was not based off of the Third Reich. It was based off of America. It was America imperialism. That was this whole thing. The Rebels, and this is, you can look this up. This is an interview he did with James Cameron where he talks about how the Rebels were based upon the Viet Cong. So if anything, Star Wars is a direct kind of commentary on the Vietnam War and Lucas's views on the Vietnam War for when it came out and how it's definitely kind of calling out American imperialism. And that was a big thing from the anti-war movement here in the States during that time. So, again, what Theory here wants is something that a lot of us would be happy to see, and like in a dark, edgy fucking Star, like Luke Skywalker fucks, right? Like you want to see him just bend Mara Jade over and just going with the lightsaber, hilt, right? That's what you want to see. That'd be cool. But in essence, we're never going to get that. And I think Filoni actually I got this clip here from Filoni. And Filoni kind of points out, so does Lucas, they kind of point out that someone like Theory in this moment in time is kind of full of shit. And this is what they said.
This funny assumption by a lot of people, because the older fans, they're complaining, why is this, you're making it for kids. That's the funniest thing anybody ever says to me, you're making Star Wars for kids. I'm like, yeah, okay. How old were you when you saw Star Wars? And they're, oh, the first time I saw Star Wars, I was 7 years old, and my dad took me, and I'm like, uh-huh. And you want to rob this experience from kids today, why? And make it all dark and sinister and evil? Okay, anyway.
When we were in Spain shooting Padme's palace, there were 10,000, like here, and they were all little tiny kids. They were reaching through this fence. It was a metal fence. It was like, and they were all reaching their hands out, even little tiny ones. They had no idea who I was, but all they wanted to do was touch my hand. And I said, this is what I did it for. Seeing all the kids, it's hard for people to realize, and I'm not supposed to say this, and I wasn't supposed to say it then, but, it's a film for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, it's a film for 12-year-olds. It's a series for 12-year-olds. Now, I do want to say that I agree here with Safety Zoom. He says there's room for both, which is true. And I agree. And as much as I think that this particular take from Star Wars Theory is absolutely ridiculous and hysterical, and I'm pretty sure that, he's going to, I haven't seen if he's responded to it yet, but I'm pretty sure there's tears involved because that's kind of how he rolls. And of course, the fandom menace is going to come out and they're going to say things like, oh, he's being attacked and the left is trying to cancel whatever, dude. No one's trying to cancel Star Wars Theory. People are responding to this absolute nonsense BS take. Because look, while it would be cool to see Darth Vader, this is the problem. See, what I want from the Obi-Wan show is Anakin. All right. Anakin. No. By the time Anakin killed the younglings, he had already been promoted. He had risen as Darth Vader. So this isn't Anakin. This would be Vader doing all this kind of stuff. And that would be something cool. But this also kind of goes against, I think, even fucking Theory's own fan film, the Shards of the Past fan film, because it humanized Vader, right? That whole thing humanized Vader. Vader was feeling, Padme and thinking about Padme and everything else that happened. And that was the whole point of humanizing Vader was that fan film. And this completely, goes against that ideal. And there's been a lot of questioning recently about Theory's credibility. And I'm not trying to like overly speak on that, but there's been a lot of stuff recently about Theory's credibility in regards to like whether or not the Star Wars fan base is ready to kind of move past someone like him. And if I'm being honest with you, I kind of agree with that. And I say that not to denigrate his content, but we're at a place now where Theory was big because there wasn't Star Wars content. There wasn't a lot of it. And now we're at a place where we're getting a lot of it and we're getting stuff that's actually pretty good and that's actually generally liked by the overall fan base. So putting out Theory videos is ultimately going to end up getting him kind of in a position of putting out bad info. And I think a lot of people kind of go to him for these ideas. But you know what? Hey, everyone has their time. Everyone has a time when their stick kind of comes to an end. And I'm not denigrating him. I think he makes excellent fan films. I think he makes I like his enthusiasm. There's that. But I do think that in general, a lot of the kind of more normie Star Wars audience is just moving away from him. I think they're kind of done. And his transition, if you will, to the dark side of fandom by going over and buddying up with, the fandom menace, right? For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know. Theory strikes me as the kind of guy that under no circumstances would ever associate with the fandom menace because all they do is shit on something that he loves. All they do is crap on Star Wars and lie about Star Wars and denigrate and disrespect and attack it constantly. And here he is like hanging out with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, doing streams with like Nerdrotic and all those guys. Like what's he going to do? Is he going to do a video where he dons a Doomcock mask and uses a voice synthesizer and starts talking about, fan theories and shit? Like this is a weird thing. And I think, a lot of people have talked to me about this, and that they've been disappointed in him, that they've unsubscribed from him, and that they've moved away from him because they don't like this new association. They don't like to see him go down this path. And then he puts out a tweet like this, and it gets rightfully shit on, in my opinion. But a lot of people out there are I think, seeing him for, not to say, because there are people who think that he's not a true Star Wars fan. I don't believe that. But he has a stick. He has a shtick, and he has a niche. And I personally think that the Star Wars brand has moved away from that. I think people are getting tired of fake Star Wars news. Yeah, people still watch it, but I think in general, the overall fan base is just tired of the nonsense. And by him associating himself with the fandom menace, by him, again, kind of transitioning to the dark side of the fandom, he has put himself in a position to where he's making himself more or less what he hates. And that tells me that either he has lost his love for Star Wars, or the money is starting to dry up in some capacity, and he's looking for another way to kind of go forward. I don't know. I don't want to put thoughts in his head. I don't want to speak to his motives. But when you openly associate with people who are as bad as the fandom menace, it says a little bit about you, don't you think? I mean, just a wee bit, right? Anyway, let's get into, let me bring this back up here as I transition to the next thing. All right. And we'll get to your guys' comments on that one. Okay. Real quick, H-Bart's here, another $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Says Marvel needs R-rated movies. Kids are different. No, I agree. I definitely agree. It's hold on, why do I still have this image up? I agree with you that even Star Wars could use R-rated stuff. But something like Kenobi is not going to be R-rated. Something like Kenobi is not going to be that particular way. And I think it's kind of ridiculous to do it, to go that way. Let's see here. I'll get to you, Safety Zoom, here in a second. Okay, Cosmic here says dark doesn't necessarily mean good storytelling. Okay, I think that's pretty fair. John here says Vader was woosified with episodes 1, 2, and 3. What does woosified mean? Yeah, okay. If this is the TLJ trailer sobbing guy you're talking about, he's a Star Wars zealot. No. You're thinking of Eric Butts. And Eric is a nice dude. Eric is a really nice guy. So let's see. Runs with Caesar says, I didn't care for Star Wars Theory or his content. Never really watched him. Certain things of his I watched. Other things, not so much. Like some theories I would check out. He's got a good presentation. I think when he does more breakdowns, I find those to be more fascinating because it's based in like canonical lore versus just like, hey guys, what do you think about Jar Jar really being the one who raised the Rancor in Jabba's palace? That's what he did after fucking the Republic collapsed. He couldn't go back to Naboo because everyone hated him because he's a piece of shit. So he ended up on Tatooine where, there's no water, so no one's going to ever think to look for him there. And he ends up getting a job for the fucking Hutts because he needs work. And so, hey, they pay. And he ends up being the one who trained the Rancor. But then Jabba, he was out that day when Jabba threw Luke in there. And so the other guy was really just a sub-trainer. And Jar Jar lives to train another one. You know what I mean? It's like stupid as shit. It's the stupidest stuff. All right. Let's see here. Geeks here says Star Wars is for all ages. That is true. Runs with Caesars here says the original Star Wars had adult themes. Empire Strikes Back was pretty dark. I don't like people saying Star Wars is for kids, but you can have dark. You can have dark without it going to the point of where it's like, hey, like in Revenge of the Sith, slaughtering of the younglings. You know what I mean? Like that was implied and it was dark and people went, oh, holy fucking shit. Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing. That was the big thing with that. And so, yeah, like it's this crazy stuff. Anyway, H-Bart's here. Another $5. Thank you very much, man. If I ever get enough money, I'm going to send you a Grogu Sideshow collectible. Jesus, that would be amazing. This is a Grogu household, so I'm very happy with that. Have I seen the Dying is Easy fan film for Batman? I haven't yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. I do want to see it. I need to probably, maybe I'll watch it tonight. Geeks here asks, could Deadpool 3 open the door for more MCU rated, R-rated films? Yes, I think it will. I think they're going to test the waters to see how it works. They obviously don't want to go R-rated because that's going to hinder their expansion into other markets. You know, like they'll go hard PG-13, but not R, maybe a soft R with like the Netflix shows, because that was kind of soft R. You know, there was swearing, there was violence, there was blood, there was sex. In the case of Jessica Jones, like a lot of sex. But it never really went into R-rated. It would be R-rated, but it never went into that territory. You know, they played in that line, and that's where they should stay. That's where they should stay, and it works out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that one. All right, Safety Zoom asks, speaking of possible fake news, did you hear or see the rumor that Charlie Cox Daredevil will be in the next Spider-Man movie? I've been hearing that for months, dude. Like, everyone's all like, oh my God. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, they're coming back. They're coming back. And I'm like, I don't care about any of that shit. You fucking give me Charlie Cox as Daredevil. That's all I care about, man. You give me Charlie Cox as Daredevil and my nips will be so hard they can cut glass. That's what I want. That's the only thing I want. If they're gonna like, that's the only thing I want. That's it. And there was like reports where someone put out a report today talking about like the casting, and they put up a Charlie Cox headshot or like promo photo. And like, no, it hasn't been confirmed at all. It's been talked about. It's been heavily speculated. It's been heavily rumored, but it's not confirmed. But for some reason, some stupid reason, people out there are just really trying to argue that it's like this, it's a thing. And like, yeah, wait to see here. Jack here says, Star Wars Theory is built like a hobbit. Oh, that's mean. That's mean, dude. That's mean. All right, let's see. Matt wonks the Cox. Amen. In and around my mouth if it's Daredevil. H. Bart says, thank you again, sir, for the $5 super chat. I want to see Charlie Cox Daredevil versus Sad Affleck Daredevil. You know what? I'm pretty sure somebody one day will be able to take the playground scene from Daredevil and superimpose Charlie Cox where Elektra would be. I think that'd be pretty funny. I don't want to see. I want Batman to don. I want Ben Affleck to don the cape and cowl. All right, like ask for the demon of Hell's Kitchen. I just want Daredevil. You know what I mean? I just want Charlie. Like I love that show. I love that show. I love Defenders. I loved all of it. And I really want it to continue. And I'm hoping that Feige understands that. I'm hoping that Feige brings that in. So hopefully we'll see that year. I agree with Andrew here. Netflix's Daredevil was so fucking good. Just a very random intelligent Jake. Did I get banned on here? No, not that I saw. Yeah, the what you see on the screen is, oh, hold on here. Actually, let me just change that because I think it's on top chat, not live chat. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be on about maybe another half hour, and I'll drop the call-in link. So I just asked that you guys have a topic, and we keep it about 5 minutes, and we'll do a few people. Because while people are kind of coming in on that one, there's one thing I did want to talk about here, and I think it's important to talk about. I do think it's important to talk about. And that, of course, is the situation involving Lindsay Ellis. Now, if you haven't been hearing about this Lindsay Ellis cancellation, it is interesting. But I think it actually kind of started not that long ago with these tweets about Soul, because this is a very weird take from someone like Lindsay. This is a very weird take from someone who I just don't quite understand, like, what in God's name she was thinking when she put these tweets out. So she says here, and again, this is from like March. This is from not that long ago. She says, finally got around to watching Soul, and woof, that ending. Yeah, I get that it's an allegory, but the central conceit does require romanticizing the souls of the unborn in a way that just doesn't make sense to me. Finally, a Pixar film for the pro-life crowd. Following up by saying, tweeting this now because this is the only thing I'll say about this movie. Yike, 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 field of yikes. And then she also then later on posted, Joe gave up his life for a miscarriage. Super dark. And this is something this has been breaking my brain, you guys. This has absolutely been breaking my brain. Because when I look at, I've seen Soul like about 10 times now because my kids love it. And at no point do I think that Lindsay understands what this movie was about. I just don't think she gets it. You know, and the thing is, when you're talking about a pro-life response to this, a pro-life thing, if I recall correctly, and please, someone correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay Ellis purposefully got pregnant just so she could have an abortion and document it. And that caused her a lot of ire with a lot of people on the right, especially the more of the conservative viewer base of Channel Awesome. But it did, really kind of build her up with people on the left. And she makes a lot of money on Patreon. So believe me, she might be getting canceled, but she's totally fine. She's not going anywhere on this one. But when you look at these tweets here, Joe did not give up his life for a miscarriage. 22 had never been born. 22 was never a miscarriage. 22 was afraid of living life. 22 was afraid of going out there and experiencing anything because she didn't find value in it. But when she went to Earth and she took over Joe's body and she partook in the realistic experiences of life, that prompted her ultimately to want to go and experience it, which is why she felt so bad when she did give Joe what he had wanted, but then Joe felt bad and went back in order to make things right. Because the whole concept of soul is just like, be careful. Your time might be out before you know it. Your time might be out before anything else is going on. I don't know. I just get so the ending of the movie. They even admitted in one ending of the movie that she wasn't, that Joe was going to die, right? Like that one ending of Soul ended with Joe dying, but they wanted it to kind of end on an upbeat thing. They didn't give Joe a second chance at life because he saved 22. It's because I think maybe they did, but it worked out for the kind of movie. And if Joe would have died at the end of it, it would have been fine. I don't know. That whole thing breaks my damn brain, by the way. It just breaks my damn brain. Like, I love Soul. Geeks here says Soul is my favorite Pixar film. Luke Stone here says Soul is probably my favorite Pixar movie. It's great. I love Soul. I think it has an amazing message about wanting to, about not wasting time. So why try to tie it into a pro-life? Yeah, okay, it's pro-life, sure, but nowhere near the idea of pro-life that she's trying to refer to here. And so, of course, there's an article that I want to look at. Why Lindsay Ellis is canceled. Twitter drama explained. I hate these kind of articles, but it just gives an idea. So it says here, Lindsay Ellis is getting canceled on Twitter after she shared her thoughts about Raya and Avatar: The Last Airbender. So she's got these really kind of horrific takes. It really is. And so people here are very happy she's getting canceled, but that's kind of Twitter for you in general. So on Friday, March 26th, Lindsay became the center of attention after she tweeted her thoughts on Raya and Avatar: The Last Airbender. In a now deleted tweet, she wrote, "Also watched Raya and The Last Dragon, and I think we need to come up with a name for this genre that is basically Avatar: The Last Airbender reduxes. It's like half of all YA fantasy published in the last few years anyway." Now, her tweet did receive some backlash, and in a bid to justify her statement, she made another one. She says, "I can see where if you squint, I was implying that all Asian-inspired properties are the same, especially if you were already privy to those conversations where I had not seen them. But the basic framework of the last Avatar is becoming popular in fantasy fiction outside of Asian-inspired stuff." And this is the thing with this, though, is like, it's a pretty simplistic approach to it, right? It's a pretty simplistic. She's not saying anything here that's like too bad. But where we are right now, remember where we are right now, you really can't like say these kind of things right now because of what happened in Georgia. For some reason, she just says it at the wrong time they're going for. I think the Soul stuff was like way, way, way worse. But people are just happy that she's gone. Sitting here, social media has been filled with mixed reactions. People are expressing their thoughts, and some have been trying to cancel her. One user wrote, "Glad Lindsay Ellis was finally canceled. Was a long time coming." Another added, "Lindsay Ellis getting canceled is good. Actually, I will die on this effing hill." And people have been trying to I've been seeing a lot of comments about it. People clapping, cheering this on. Some people who are even very much in the anti-cancel culture club, but they're looking at it as a bit of Schadenfreude because someone like Lindsay wouldn't care if someone like them got canceled. You know what I mean? So there's a bit of hypocrisy here on their end. But it's kind of ridiculous. So it says here, Lindsay Ellis is getting canceled for not listening to people who insist on interpreting her comments in the most negative way possible. Is just making me tired. Like, you can tell a lot of these people were just waiting for an excuse to go after her. Some didn't even hide it. And that is, in my opinion, very true in regards to this particular statement. However, Lindsay has talked about this. She posted about it on her Patreon. So she posted about this yesterday, saying, I'm posting this here because I feel if I owe anyone an explanation, it's you guys. So with regard to the Twitter thing, needless to say, there's a lot of projection and assumption of why I did decide to delete it. But at the end of the day, I took this whole debacle as a sign that I really need to rethink my career, such as it were, because clearly this is not working. Twitter and social media in general have become such an incredible source of toxicity for culture in general and for me in particular. It was making me so unhappy, which is part of why I had been getting increasingly snippy and defensive in ways that were unnecessary and unprofessional. The people who are saying this, that this is a result of carelessness, are right. I was careless. As for the question of why now, it wasn't that this controversy was the worst ever. It honestly was just the last straw, and not just for Twitter. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, how I should engage with content, or if I should continue making it at all. So I'm taking some time away from the internet to try to detox from it, and then we'll see what the state of things will be going forward. As for an actual statement, I'm not making one now. I'm going to take some time to consider how to respond, because I think it will take some time to figure out what I want to say and how I want to say it. For the people who sent messages of support, I appreciate it, and I do apologize for any hurt or stress this may have caused. I don't feel awesome about it. Which, look, I mean, looking at that right there, it's like, yeah, people are, for this right here, they're going after her because she criticized Raya and The Last Dragon. Like, I just rewatched Raya and The Last Dragon again tonight. And at the end of the movie, I looked at my girlfriend, I'm like, so, they still never explained why the dragons came back. Spoiler, you could probably already figure it out, and we sat there, had a conversation about why the dragons came back. Cause it was like, again, there's some stuff that's like not explained. And I said, I think in my real board commentary episode on it, I talked about how I looked at like this movie as being a larger property, like a season, like a show, like a series. And I think in essence, I might've been kind of leaning towards Avatar in my mind, but it wasn't something that's like a direct ripoff. There's the Dragon Prince on Netflix. That's very similar in regards. They have a dragon. It's the last one, and it's an amazing show. So, Lindsay here has these hot takes that people who are looking for a reason to get rid of her are going to put out there. And so it's just kind of ridiculous to me. It's kind of stupid. And at the end of the day, like, look, I don't hate Lindsay Ellis, nothing like that. I don't think she's all that. I don't think she's as good as people tell her that she is. And her commentary on stuff is kind of benign and banal, a little bit on the milquetoast side these days. But as we read right there, and this is what happens, it's not hard for her to get burnt out. It's not hard for her to end up in the position of just being unhappy in the world and the work that she's doing, which I get that. And so, hey, for that, take a mental health break, and look after yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the biggest fan, but I don't wish any ill will towards her, and I hope she gets better, because this job is demanding. And when you have a lot of eyeballs on you with people waiting to pounce for every single thing, it can take its toll. And clearly, this doesn't bring her joy anymore. This is a job. And that's something personally for me, I vow to never let happen. Talking about movies will never be a job. It's always going to be a joy. It's always going to be a delight. And the thing is, the conversations I have with my audience about that is the reason why I do this job. Someone like Lindsay, I look at her job is to be critical. Her job is to critique content people like, but at the end of the day, that's going to make her more enemies. Being super critical might get you a bit of an audience with the people who want to feel, I don't know, either morally superior or more intellectually superior. But really, what you're doing is you're nitpicking things for the sake of nitpicking, because it gets you a damn paycheck. And when I talk about that, I'm not even making that up. I'll bring this up here before we exit, right? It's you've got Lindsay here pulling in. I don't even know. I'm not even going to really try to speculate. But look at this. This is her Patreon right here. Okay, her Patreon. If I can go back to the top of it. So here, right? Select membership level 210, whatever. She's got 9,135 patrons. She's got 9,100. So at the maximum, she's making over like what, $90,000 a month. But she's got this or for this, right? So really, it could be either way. We have no idea. But in reality, she's going to be fine financially. But this is the world that she's kind of created. Her audience here is they have passion. They want her to critique and tear apart this stuff. And that kind of makes you, look, I'm just going to say it. The more you critique things and the more you look at things from as negative as of a perspective as humanly possible, the more negativity it brings into your life. And the more enemies you make. There's nothing wrong with liking something. There's nothing wrong with enjoying something. There's nothing wrong with picking it apart, but you have to do it in a way that doesn't come across as being mean-spirited. And quite frankly, when I think about Lindsay, it's always mean-spirited, if I'm being fair. But let's get back into the chat here. I wish I could bring up multiple things. Okay. There we go on that one here. Let's see what you guys have to say. Again, I'll drop the link again. I see John back there. We'll get to John here in a second. Okay. Let's see here. Luke Stone says, preach. Okay. So Captain James Biggins here says, Raya and the Last Dragon surprised me. The character dragon was funny as hell, but anyone noticed a lot of female lead roles in the Disney movie? I didn't hate on Raya. I just noticed it. Well, she was a Disney princess. So it makes a lot of sense. And I think Kelly Marie Tran did a wonderful job in the role. No, Safety Zoom, you're right. You 100% agree with her Patreon statement. Yeah, 100%. But she says, but then just a random, very intelligent Drake here says, that's such a hypocritical statement when that's exactly what happened to Chris Pratt. Well, Chris, I mean, what did Chris even say? It was just, yeah, no, that's true. The woke left went after him for just like, what, tweeting about his faith? Yeah, she locked her Twitter. She canceled herself. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. All right, sorry, H-Barts. I didn't want to miss your super chat, sir. You've been amazing tonight. Thank you. He says here, I can't buy MCU Spider-Man versus Vincent D'Onofrio's version of Fisk. That would be fascinating to see because it would show you the naivety of Peter Parker going up against someone with the cunning of Fisk, and he would have to adapt. And I think that would be a very excellent kind of cat and mouse type thing, where like he would have to team up with Daredevil to take out Fisk. But I think, man, that would be so cool to see if they did that. I would be so on board with that. I'd be very, very, very happy. So thank you very much for that, sir. Appreciate that. So, all right, we're coming into the last, all right. Well, Chris, but don't you think, Safety, that you're overusing the term canceled? Chris Pratt isn't canceled. He was just on the set of of Thor 4 and they're doing Guardians 3 and he's doing Jurassic World Dominion. He's not canceled. I mean, canceled either means something or it doesn't. In this case, it doesn't mean shit anymore. Let's be fair. And that's the thing. Yeah, he's a Christian. I'm not a Christian. I'm not going to fault him for it, but people are, again, looking for reasons to kind of dunk on him. Drake here said, I think too many YouTube reviewers get negative in a mean-spirited way for views. 100%. 100%. So, all right, let's get into, all right, John, a couple minutes on the clock here. What's on your mind?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, Soul was a really good movie. I like the notion about your predetermination and your being born, die for having experiences. I was surprised that Disney actually did that kind of theme.
Well, it wasn't like, it was, the thing was they had an afterlife. So reincarnation wasn't a factor, and it wasn't, they made no hinting at souls being recycled.
Oh, well,
so
I have to watch it again because I took the notion that the souls would choose the life that, remember you had to earn Earth badge to get to Earth.
Well, what it was is they would then, the souls, as they were in preparation, right? So the concept of the souls were like, these were genderless, nondescript souls. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And they would get mentors. The mentors are people who did die, like we saw Muhammad Ali and we saw, I think they had, Abraham Lincoln and Einstein and whatever, at least for 22. And then those people would take them into that hall. Right. And then they would show them every conceivable thing. And those souls would then gravitate towards what they found to be. When they found their passion, that's when the Earth badge would activate. And then what they would do is they would go to the portal and they would just dive into it. and they would just fall to earth and fall, I'm assuming, randomly into some body. Like, it's all random. It wasn't like, you know, little white kids, little black kids,
no,
Hispanic kids, like nothing like that.
Well, that's implied, but I took it from the perspective of they were choosing the exact soul to have the experience that they were looking for. I mean, the guy that wanted to be the pianist, right, the main character, he wanted to be you know, he wanted to teach and be a pianist. He just didn't really know that.
Well, no, because he still wants to be. His dream was to be the jazz musician, and that's what he wanted, right? But the problem, though, is that, like, with him is he focused too much on it and he forgot to live, right? And so he also found joy in teaching music because that's still part of his passion. So he found joy in trying to give knowledge and to mentor somebody. And that was, again, the whole notion of his relationship with 22 was he was her mentor. You know, kind of like unwittingly to some extent, he was trying to, you know, weasel his way out of dying.
Right.
And then but through that, he brought her into his life. Because remember, these people, these mentors could show, like, these souls their life, you know, their highlight moments. And at the very beginning, when the two of them meet, they go in and Joe brings up, you know, because she thinks he's like, that's like that child psychiatrist. And so he brings up, like, you know, his experiences. And then from there, she didn't really get any of that. But when she went down there and she experienced it herself, it changed her mindset. She walked a mile in his shoes. Right. So it changed her mindset for wanting to live, because she was just so off put by it. She just didn't want to deal with it. And so at that point, it kind of like shook her towards the concept of actually having those experiences in a tangible way. So she, at that point, still gave Joe her Earth badge, you know, because they had made the deal. But then she felt she was lost after that, you know. So that's why Joe went back and he gave her the badge, and he effectively, you know, because he had died, kind of, you know, at that point. And so he had gone back to do the right thing. You know, it's a moral tale. It's a morality tale, but also reminds you to live. And then at the end of the movie, they gave him his life back, you know, as a, you know, I mean, as a reward. It was kind of like one of those things. I love how they set it up, because they're like, well, we shouldn't really do this, but, you know, like, we're going to do it. And that's what they just mess with the abacus, and they just, you know, add one more to the list and send him back. So, you know,
I'd have to rewatch it again. I only watched it one time.
Okay, but, I've watched it a bunch.
Right. It's just that, I mean, when you watch a movie, there's stuff that's missing that people tend to fill in with their own information to make the storyline understood for them. You know, they add info to it. So I'll have to look at it again, because I usually don't do that. So,
well, it's one of those things where it's like the concepts of it, like they talk about, like, you know, like when they go and they talk to Graham Norton, and, you know, the guys who kind of help guide the souls and whatever, their whole concept is like, you know, like, oh, this guy's another investment banker, and he's not happy being an investment banker. So they're trying to, like, the whole concept of the movie is to basically find your passion, to help you, you know, these souls. And they realize that they kind of mess with them a little, like making them passive aggressive or whatever the hell, you know, like in the beginning of it, when they're giving them, like, the little personality traits, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't give them so many of these, you know, like little gags like that. There's a lot there. It's like watching Inside Out. Inside Out is a lot of it with the mind, a lot of the little jokes about how the brain works, you know, like when they're in the train and they knock over the facts and opinions and they look very similar, and they end up putting them back together. And the one guy goes, oh yeah, no, this happens all the time. You know, like, people just mess up their facts and opinions. And that is true. That's a very true thing. So, you know, there's a lot of the dialogue in a lot of these Pixar films are very subtle in nature. And again, having kids, like, I end up watching them a lot. So, you know, that's more or less what I would say about that one.
Well, I thought the strings had to do with string theory, actually. That was kind of interesting. Well, the representation of some of the you call soul guides were actually just strings, and I thought that was analogous to actual string theory that they were doing in the movie. They're
I
one-dimensional
don't know. I don't know.
You have to look at it again, because the strings they had no dimension. It's just the little string characters, and they never had depth, so they were always flat and stringy. So
I don't know. You lost me on that one, man. Like 100% lost me on that one. I have no idea. But because I still have a few more people to get to, man. So real quick, what's is there anything you quickly wanted to say, or?
No, I was just wondering how she got quote unquote canceled. And I'm like, well, how did Twitter? They barely canceled what's his name for what he did, but but she just quit. I mean, I don't see her being canceled, because to be canceled,
no, it's canceled it's a verb these days. You know what I mean? It's just like it doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything anymore. It's like, I was canceled. No, like, you weren't canceled. You chose to leave, and people, whatever. Like, people said I was canceled. I guess you could say I was canceled, but I never really left. So it's like, some people have moved on, other people haven't. It's kind of how it goes. So.
Okay. I put in the chat, the English dictionary needs to be read by people. So.
Well, yeah, but sadly, the dictionary is one of those things where, that's considered probably problematic in a few pockets of the internet. You know what I mean? It's definitely one of those things where you're like, oh, well, yeah.
They make up their own words.
Words mean something.
The Urban Dictionary,
Yeah. Words mean something, just not in the way you might think, or if a word ever doesn't match what you want it to be, you can easily just claim that it's problematic and try to get it canceled. So, and that's, I hate to say it, but it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Our society just, it's so dumb when it comes to words.
Can you imagine the writer of 1984, what he would think of today? He'd be floored. What's his name?
Orwell.
The double speak and all that stuff that he was projecting into the future. He'd be amazed at how extreme it is compared to what his concepts were.
Well, yeah. He would watch something like Black Mirror and just go, son of a bitch. They owe me fucking royalties. That's what he would say. But all right, man, I'm gonna let you go, John. Thanks for coming by, dude, and we'll talk again soon. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much, man. See ya. All right, and if you've ever listened to Boulder Talk Radio, we have a special person here who's kind of a fan favorite over there.
Hey,
Anthony,
how you doing, man? Happy birthday!
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. I can still only see the top of your head.
Sorry about that. I shaved.
That's good. Did you watch any movies with your mom?
Well, we watched Batman Dawn of Justice last night.
Oh, nice. First time?
Good. What?
First time?
It was my third time. I saw it in the theater when I was in 14th Street 5 years ago.
Okay. Cool, man. Did you guys
look what I got?
What is? Can you point it towards the camera? I can't really see it.
Yes.
Hold on. You're not pointing it at. It's upside down right now too. I'll make you full screen here.
Return to Nukem High.
Oh, it's the autographed one.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you order it online, or did you get that signed?
Planet. Lloyd Kaufman signed it. After Paredes, Clavon Kolowitz, they all signed it.
Nice. Well, is that
what?
Oh, is that your most valued possession?
Yes, and I loved it. I saw the movie 8 times.
Nice, dude. Nice.
Yeah,
I wish I had time to watch movies 8 times.
But the thing is that, I saw the new Suicide Squad. If you freeze frame the trailer once again, you'll see Lloyd Kaufman.
Oh, really? Kaufman's in it? Where is he in the Suicide Squad trailer?
Well, they were in a bar hugging people,
Let's see here. I'll check and see if I can find it on. Someone would have talked about it, right?
Yo, Music Man! What up, Tony? Uncle Fester in the house, Ryan.
Let's see. Maybe it's on Slash. Maybe they got it there. You said he's in the bar scene?
Yeah, where he hugs people.
Let's see. I'm scrolling through right now. So what did you think of the Suicide Squad trailer overall?
That looked fantastic.
Yeah, that's going to be Oh, there he is. There he
Yeah.
is. Okay, hold on here. I'll bring up people who want to see Lloyd. If you don't know, Lloyd Kaufman basically gave James Gunn
I
his
know
break.
that. I know that.
Anthony, yeah,
Romeo and Juliet.
you definitely know that one, but a lot of other people don't know that. So in regards to this, you can see that there's John Cena dancing, and there's Lloyd Kaufman giving some young woman a hug.
Yeah.
And probably his room number and phone number and Viagra prescription.
That's him.
That's him. I wonder how much of a part he has in the movie.
But my memoirs will have to wait till 2023.
Oh, okay. Why are you waiting on your memoir?
Wise.
This what? I'm sorry. What?
It's timing.
Okay.
Put on time after the 2023, we're going to see the book come out.
Nice. Have you gotten? I know we talk about this pretty often. Have you done any more writing on it?
No, not ever since I moved in here.
You got it right, man. You got it right.
I will, but my prize collection, my favorite trauma movies, Return to Nukem High.
Nice. Well, you got it. I mean, you're not going to open it, are you?
No, I'm not going to pop in and watch it for the 9th or 10th time. I still got to get Volume 2.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
We'll see. Squad goes, and then we're going to work on Mighty Morphin Trauma Rangers after part 2 of my biopic.
Cool. Yeah. Well, again, you have to write these things down. I'm going to keep telling you that every time you call in. I'm going to remind you,
so
like a broken clock.
I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, Suicide Squad is definitely. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, you got a bit of a fan club here, Anthony. You got a bit of a fan club.
I know. Trying to push this movie, but right now Lloyd is busy right now doing his hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm.
Nice.
Yeah, Shakespeare Shitstorm is based on The Tempest.
Very cool, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna let you go so I can get to the last couple of people.
Happy birthday to you. May the good Lord bless you. Happy birthday, dear Matthew. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you very much, man.
Bye.
I'll see you. Have a good. Alvy here says Anthony is such a wholesome realm of joy. I love it. He's a very nice guy. I like Anthony quite a bit. All right, so Ryan, I don't think a typewriter is gonna help him on that one. I agree. I agree with you here. A typewriter would be good to help him, but he does. He's shown me pages he's written by hand. So I do think a typewriter would be good, but I think he's writing this one by hand. So there you go. All right, we got Eddie. Real quick, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not too much. What's on your mind?
Well, one topic, but I tried putting it in the comments and you skipped it for a couple times in the chat.
Well, there was a lot going on. I was trying to get to news stories, so you gotta.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Well, I'm gonna scroll back through and see what you said.
No, you're good.
Then I'm just gonna. I'll boot you because then I don't need you here anymore. No, I'm kidding. Okay? So what is it you wanted to say?
Well, I'm shut up, Andrew. All right, let me get to guys, let me get to my point before Matt boots me off. Anyway, so I'm cautiously excited for Black Adam. I mean, given with the release date and all, although I'm going to say, I was trying to say earlier that in the chat that I'm not sure if July is the best month to put it, only because since Marvel already has a movie schedule slated for the beginning of the month, and I don't know if Marvel and DC movies or if the studios are able to let both their properties compete within the same month. I don't think that's happened before.
Well, they've got what's coming out with Marvel?
Black Panther 2, but I have a feeling they're gonna probably push that back. I'm not sure, but so far it's July 6, 2022 or something like that.
I mean, they've done that before, where they've done
with Marvel and DC movie.
Other superhero movies. I think what was it? 2013 Man of Steel was in June. Iron Man was in May. Iron Man kicked off May. 6 weeks later was Man of Steel. You know,
right? But they were like 1 month after the other, which was
yeah.
fine.
This is what July 8th and then July 8th and July 20th. That's 3 weeks. That's 3 weeks. It's not so bad. It's not so bad.
Okay, so you don't think that neither would be affected if they were to compete within the same month?
I think it'd be better, most likely, if Black Adam moved to like the 1st of August. You know, the first week of August would probably be better, because
either
you know,
that or go ahead.
Or move to when?
Sorry. No, like I was saying, even like either June or April or August, either one of those could work. But I mean, July. I mean, Marvel got to grab that month first from the very beginning.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's yeah, no, it's one of those things where I'm sure DC will move. DC always cucks. They always cuck. So
Yeah,
you're always gonna have that. That's always gonna happen.
That is true. That is true. But the second part I wanted to ask real quick before I go is because we know that Black Adam is connected to Shazam because because Dwayne Johnson obviously is produced or executive produced both movies, and we know how much that he's pro Zack Snyder and also wants Henry Cavill in his movie. My thing is, do you think that if Dwayne gets his way with Warner Brothers, which I don't know how that's going to go, but let's say if he were to get his way, do you think this would finally answer that Shazam is in fact part of the Snyderverse?
Well, yeah. I mean, Shazam is part of the Snyderverse, man. Like there's too many references to where it's not part of the Snyderverse.
Right.
You know. I think that I think really in this situation, what they need to do is
because a lot of
clarify.
people say that it's not, and I don't know why. Because I'm like, I've watched Shazam so many times, and it's like the references and Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam. It's like, come on, it's connected. I don't know why people are saying it's not.
Because it's the people who don't like Zack Snyder are the ones that are going to say it. That's really what it boils down to. It's the people that don't like that. It's the people that are just very much trying to be negative Nancy's. Look, I've noticed that, like, I caught a guy I posted this on Twitter. Someone was spamming the same comments from different accounts, being kind of anti-Snyder on my videos. They were all caught in the spam filter, but it's like someone is clearly trying to run negative interference.
Right.
So I would argue that, like, I don't want to sit there and say that people who dislike the movie are fake or whatever. But I would argue to some extent that you got to be careful with what you believe online, you know? So, and when it comes to the whole thing of them kind of working together or kind of overlapping together, I would say, yeah, they should probably really clarify that, because, you know, the thing with the multiverse is people are fine with the multiverse, but they still want established universes. You know,
I mean, there could be a universe within the multiverse where there is a connected universe and other timelines are ancillary. I mean, that could still work as a multiverse. You could still have
isn't that just confusing? But isn't that just a little bit too confusing
for people like you and me?
But we pay attention to this. Do you think some random guy in like Oklahoma is going to be able to figure that out, who's never interacted with this content before?
Oklahoma. I don't know. That's a good question, to be quite honest. I mean, if you're talking normies, then probably.
Well, normies, like, I hate this. I'm not trying to be a dick when I say this, but it's kind of true. Normies need a fucking hand. They need to be guided, because normies will not understand this stuff. And I know that there's that whole, like, but they're not hardcore fans, man. Hardcore fans gotta, it's like, dude, yeah, hardcore fans are there 100%.
Right.
You know, but it's that whole notion of you got to make sure that the normies get it. You know, like the Snyder Cut, for example, like, is a long movie, and there's some stuff there that, some people have,
which I watched for a third time yesterday.
Good.
And I'll keep watching it.
But what I'm talking about here is, it's not that one is not hard to comprehend.
Whereas Marvel's multiverse is what? Is it the same situation?
We don't know how they're handling the multiverse yet. We don't know how they're handling it. We don't know what rules they're establishing. So, That's the whole thing. We have no idea. But all right, man. Well, yeah, real quick, because Well, because I got to get to the last person, and I got to get to bed here in a few minutes. So,
all right. Do you want me to just say real quick, and I'll let you go?
Yeah.
Where do you think Shazam fits in the Snyderverse timeline? Because if it does, let's say if it takes place after Justice League, then how does it explain Henry Cavill's black suit going from that back to red and blue in the cafeteria scene?
I don't know. He could have stopped off for a clothing change.
Or his black suit can change colors. I don't know.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. To be fair, I'm just not.
But it's connected. It's connected.
Yeah, it's connected. Let it be connected. It's fine. The black suit. He eventually ends up going and getting the red and blue suit again. So
yeah. Hey, Zach Levi for Justice League 2, hopefully. Because he said he wants to. He says he wants to be part of the team. So
he said the Snyder Cut didn't exist, and he was kind of a dick about it. So you know what?
But he apologized. Well, not like vocally apologized, but he saw the Snyder Cut and probably ate his words since then.
Most likely, I would say so. Yeah, he's like, shit, they've got me on.
But
tape.
Who knows?
All right, man. Hey, thanks for coming on by, Eddie. We'll talk again soon.
All right, have a good night, man.
All right, see you later. Thank you very much. All right, H Bart's here, another $5, sir. Thank you so much. Says Zach was going to use Flashpoint so other creators could do something with his world after his arc. I guess I haven't heard. I'm not saying he didn't say that. I personally have never heard that. That's the whole thing though. Again, a lot of these interviews, you can't fully take them at face value. Because either they're like deflections or there's things that they want to do that they never would be able to do, or they're trying to just let fans down. Him saying, like, come on, you spend all these years of your life establishing this universe just to go, well, yeah, then we're going to do Flashpoint and fucking someone else can come along and change it if they want to. Because I know he mentioned it's like, oh, this is just my run. Nah, fuck that shit, dude. Fuck that. You want that shit to continue. If you're building it up, you want it to continue. To just get to the end of a 5-movie arc and go back and hit the reset button. No. I'm okay with that not being a thing. Andrew here says H Barts loves them super chats. Yes, he does, and I thank him for that, Andrew. And watch your ass, okay? Well, you don't disrespect my boy H Barts. All right. By the way, I do owe H Barts an apology. I thought he worked for Amazon. I was wrong, so I want to say that one. All right. So let's get to the final call of the night. Arkham Gaming, really quick, dude, because I got to get to bed here pretty soon. What's on your mind?
It has to do with like the Flashpoint. Like, I understand people like, I think the Flash movie and I think it's Doctor Strange and Madness. I think that they both won't comprehend the general public very much, because if you think of like I think it was Avengers Endgame, people didn't understand like the time travel aspect. Like I talked to like few people that really are not very into comic books. Like they didn't really understand the time travel aspect, and I don't think they're going to win over the people with time travel. Like if Flash is going through time, that makes more like sense, because like if you think of Flash going through time, it's pretty easy. He's going through multiple Earths. But like with Marvel, I feel like it's going to be more hard to them to explain, because with the Doctor Strange character, because like when people think of traveling through time, they think of the Flash character. They don't think of like Doctor Strange or anything like that. And I feel like Marvel might have more of a hard time explaining the time travel or the multiverse aspect to the general public than DC.
Well, the way it kind of works though is Marvel kind of explained the multiverse on that front in Endgame. When you go back and you change something, right? It then branches that off into a new timeline. It's kind of like that could be their easiest way of saying like, this is how it's going to work. Because if it didn't matter when they sent Captain America back in order to go and put everything back where he got it at the end of the movie, like if they didn't care about those alternate dimensions, because remember what the Ancient One said, that if those stones are not returned to that timeline, then ultimately it's going to end up it's going to end up destroying those timelines. So it's like, that's going to tie into it. Like that's the cosmic side of it where they go into I guarantee you that's going to tie in. That was done very intently. And they've already established it. It's the most watched movie it's the highest grossing movie in the world, of all time. Actually, Avatar took it back over, for right now, but it's up there, number one, number two, depending on who you talk to. And really it's like people have already accepted it as being a reality. So they've already established the existence of it. Now they just need to kind of finely tune it and it will be fine.
Yeah. Like with the whole time travel stuff, I think either DC or Marvel, it's going to be hard to explain with it. Like the multiverse, like, do you think, like, if you're talking about the multiverse, you're talking about all these other, multiple versions of Earth, and which one's gonna be the center of the Earth. I feel like that's going to be the one problem, not just for DC, Marvel too. Because if you're talking about like all these other Earths that the general public is figuring out, because I bet no one even knows about the multiverse.
It's like I was trying to say to Eddie. It's and I bring up the guy in Oklahoma. If people don't read comics, and let's be real, a lot of people do not read comics.
No.
They just don't read them. They never have. It's got a core fan base of people. It's increased. Look at superhero movies, cape shit, right? Is like the number one pop culture brand, but it doesn't expand the comic book sales.
No.
It's got an audience. It's profitable to some extent. But the average person simply doesn't care. They go to their friends to go, what does this mean? When Captain America said this in this movie, what did that mean? And the friend will go like, well, I'm a nerd who's never touched a vagina, so I can tell you exactly what it's going to be. So, right. Or they Google it and they might.
A person that always tells you, basically, you don't want a person from because I read a lot of comic books. I know a lot more about the multiverse. You don't want a person that keeps explaining the movie to the other person. Oh, this is what this means. This was this. The person will eventually leave the theater and it's like, fuck this.
Well, yeah, kinda. I mean, it's like, when I am watching something and I think it was like WandaVision or something with my girlfriend, she would ask me questions and I'm like, well, it's based on these comics and this is kind of what the comics have said about these characters. I don't know if it's what's going to happen, but it's potential that this could be what happens, And I think there are people out there who can explain it well enough. That's good. Like Grace Randolph does good breakdowns of like WandaVision. And I don't like her news coverage, but I really enjoy those videos from her.
Yeah.
And so
there's a lot of hit and miss, really.
She does.
And she says one thing I have a problem is she says all these stuff about DC. Wonder Woman 1984 was supposed to be Flashpoint. That was pure bullshit. And she's saying, they're going to move all these dates. How do we really know that? Because she's not in charge of DC. She's not in charge of Warner Brothers. How can we really?
Well,
I think this is the one problem about the internet is how do you know what's true or not? That's what it comes down to, because you have all these rumors, you have all these everything about every DC movie and every Marvel movie. Basically, how do you know who to really trust for the information now?
Yeah, well, that's a big problem. And that's kind of where, you never really know these days. And it really does require people to use critical thinking and to take things with a grain of salt and to really kind of ask themselves, is this real or is this fake? And a lot of people don't, because the thing is, they don't want to invest the time into it. They don't want to invest they don't want to invest. They just want to get the info and get the fuck out. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
And in the age of YouTube, they want to invest and they want to get the fuck out. So it's like this stream's been on for almost 2 hours. And it's like, I might get a few views on the end of this, but I'm going to clip out some of the bits and post them up tomorrow. But really it's like, not a lot of people are going to, it's just, they want to get the info and they want to get the hell out. And that's just the way it works. And that's going to have to be how the multiverse is explained.
Yeah.
They're going to have to explain it and then get the fuck out.
With articles and I think the one thing that people do get a lot confused with, even with trusted articles like Variety, Deadline, stuff like that. They're very cryptic. Like they don't really tell you much, but they're very cryptic what they say, because like when the a Black Superman was announced, they never said who it was. They just said Black Superman announced it, like coming from J.J. Abrams. They never said who it was from the comics. They just said it was a reboot, and people started to speculate. Like, I just feel like when you write an article, you have to be more specific.
Well, they also have to kind of keep it speculatory, as to not like give away their sources, right? As to not give away any of that kind of stuff. So it becomes an issue. And again, it's like those stories are like meant to get picked up and circulated around Twitter. They're meant to get picked up and made videos on, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, this stuff can go wide. And the thing is because so many people out there, this becomes ultimately like, you know, they just want to know, again, when even on YouTube, it's like, you know, if I want to talk about, anything
Zatanna.
other than, Zatanna or whatever, it's like, well, okay, some stuff is going to be like there, I guess, like, you know, there might be some interest, but there's not a lot. But Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, maybe some Doctor Who or another established franchise, especially horror, if you get into that marketplace, a lot of people pay attention. But look at the people who, you know, like most of my topics tonight were predominantly about Cape shit, you know? And then I didn't even talk about the fucking Zack Snyder Justice League IMAX screenings.
Oh, they had IMAX screenings?
No. It's they've given him, there's people that have been talking about it, but they're giving him a handful of charity screenings somewhere down the road. You know what I mean? So it's like people, you know, so that's something to consider. It's just, there's been a lot going on, but a lot of it, so, you know, a lot of it is just about these big tier things, which is why I like doing the Podio commentary, because I can kind of dive into other stuff. But on that note, dude, I do got to let you go so I can get myself to bed.
Okay.
And but I appreciate you coming on in, Arkham, and definitely calling anytime, man.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you very much. All right, that was fun. Thank you very much. Let me get to these super chats real quick. I see Ryan here, $5, man. Says, do you have anything planned for Podio and commentary for next month? I'm thinking. There's movies I want to talk about, and then I'm trying to think of like the best way to like grow the channel. So like I did the DCEU, you know, Snyder's movies, and I don't want to. I thought about that. I'm like, do I want to turn April into like a Godzilla month? You know, like Godzilla 2014, King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla v Kong. Like, I could make it an entire, but like not everybody's gonna want Godzilla. So I'm like, okay. This is a bit of a problem with franchises. I've thought about doing the Joker, because the Joker is one that gets a lot of attention on YouTube, and it's the one that people would probably want to know more about. But I just did 3 DC movies, so I'm going to kind of hold off on Joker. Final Fantasy Spirits Within is one I was thinking about, but I'm going to probably hold off on that one until June, when part 2 comes out, right? So I know right now it's free. Final Fantasy 7 is free on PSN, but the second part comes out in June, so there's gonna be a lot of like promotional material for it. I gotta look around. I gotta look to see what people are watching and see what's. I did one. I asked people if I should talk about Paul Blart Mall Cop. You know, if I should talk about Paul Blart, because there's actually a subreddit for Paul Blart that apparently people just post Blart memes all the time. It's a weird thing. You know, so I'm thinking I'm definitely going to be doing more. I'm going to be figuring it out this week, what my schedule is for the month, and then putting that information out there. And I want to focus more on like trying to build up through Instagram and build up an audience over there. And then also like, you know, get people to check it out. So don't worry, dude, you'll be the first to know. And if you have any suggestions, I'm always game too, because I want to make sure that you guys want to listen. So there we go. All right. Thank you very much for that one. And then finally here, H-Barts with the $5. Man, you rock. Says, if Cavill is gone, I want him to play Sentry or Kalark in the MCU. I don't know who those people are, to be honest with you. However, Captain Britain has been the one that a lot of people have been talking about. Like, that's the one people have been talking about for a long time. Like, you know, if Marvel or if DC doesn't want Henry Cavill, then Marvel Captain Britain. So I don't know, man. I think I don't think Cavill's out, to be honest with you. I really don't think he's out. I think we'll get there eventually. So that's something, but I'm hoping that he's not out, and I'm hoping that he's still Superman, because I think he's great in the role, and I'd love to see him do more with it. So there's definitely going to be, I'm hoping more with that. Anyway, getting kind of distracted by looking at something. All right. Those are Marvel's versions of Superman. Oh, okay. There we go. I didn't know that. Thank you. Alvy here says Dick Tracy. You know, Dick Tracy is actually on my list, Alvy. That is true. Dick Tracy is on my list. For covering that. I have the articles saved on that. I gotta watch it again. It's on HBO Max. That's the thing. I want to cover things people are watching on streaming. You know, like what's like. Let me bring up Netflix here real quick. Netflix. What are people watching? Netflix. Dun-na-na-na-na. Let me here. I'll bring it up real quick. We'll stop it there and we'll bring up Netflix. All right, we'll take a look here. We'll just do this real quick because I think this could be kind of a bit of fun. All right, so this is, you know, Netflix, and you go, okay, so you've got like I hear Paradise PD is pretty good. I need to watch both of these true crime docs. I've not seen Cobra Kai, so there's that. Trending now is Bad Trip. I don't even know what the hell this is, but it's in the top 10. I think Bad Trip is like, what is it? Like, it's like Jackass, but with Eric Andre. I don't really like Eric Andre. But, you know, hey, you've got Criminal Minds. You got The Dark Knight. That's trending right now. Again, I just did Batman, so that's like, I'll hold off on that one. You've got The Flash is trending. The Conjuring Dose. That came out. The Irregulars came out. That's something I want to see. Again, Netflix does not promote their stuff, man. It becomes very difficult to like keep up on it unless people start talking about it. I could cover The Queen's Gambit because a lot of people seem to like that one. Demon Slayer, don't know shit about. Bridgerton, if I'm looking for a reason to masturbate, there's that. You know, there's tons of stuff here. And then what's okay? Number one in the U.S. state would be, so Bad Trip. If it holds off, if Bad Trip holds all week, I could sit there and do that one. Who Killed Sarah? What is this one? It's I don't know what that is. See, Secret Magic Control Agency. Don't know what that is. But see, this is just top 10 in the United States. You can keep kind of scrolling down here, and I think they have like top 10 in. Oh no, they have top 10 in movies. Right. Also, one of the things I want to do going forward is because you can. Anyone here have Amazon accounts? If you got an Amazon Instant or whatever, hit 1 because we can go over to Twitch and we can stream them. You know, we can stream them and stuff. So that's something to consider. Okay, we got a lot of Adam Sandler in the top up here. Okay, so this is what's going on with like the top 10 movies. So you've got Yes Day, which I think is a Jennifer Garner one. The Secret Magic Control Agency, don't know what the hell that is. It's for kids. What is Seaspiracy? Okay. Deadly Illusions. The College Admissions Scandal. Savages. Look. That Savages poster right there, Salma Hayek. I mean, come on. The movie's about like, I think it's come on. What is that image? What are you looking at with that image? Right? They know what's up. They get it. Secret Life of Pets 2, which I've seen way more times than I care to, and the BFG. So I mean, there's stuff here to talk about, you know, and this kind of moves itself around a little bit here and there. So that's something to consider as time goes on for this kind of stuff. So it will be interesting to see what I come up with. Anyway, see, H. Bart's here says Paul Blart is a special film for me. One of the first movies my dad let me skip school to see when I was 8. Music Man says, "Are you still watching the Da Vinci Code?" I was looking for something. I think no. The Da Vinci Code was trending, and I was gonna do a Podio commentary on it, and I was just like skipping through it to see how the quality was, and that's why it's there. Yeah, Savages came out in July of 2012, if I recall. Taylor Kitsch was in 3 big movies that year: John Carter, Battleship, and Savages. All 3 bombed, and there also went his career for a while. Yeah, again, I should do a audio commentary on Stranger Things. Yeah, I should. Bradley here says, I got to watch that documentary about Blockbuster going out of business. I completely agree. I need to watch that one too. I actually live about 5 hours from that Blockbuster. I gotta drive out there. Do Paul Blart because there's a demand for it. There has been a demand. I don't quite know if it's still there or not. But I mean, that's the thing with Podio commentary. It's going to be, a long serving thing. And look, if I can get it popular enough where I can pull in some cash with it, I can up it to 2 a week. If I can cut back on having to do food delivery and I'm making the money on that, then I can invest that time into writing more stuff, which is the goal. So we'll check that one out. But all right, guys, I am going to go to bed. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for coming on. I should be on tomorrow night because it's the weekdays and I don't have much going on. We'll see what's going down. I appreciate everyone who has been hanging out with me tonight. You guys are great. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the love. Thank you for just being you guys, because without you, I wouldn't be here. And you know what? I like where I am. So that's on you. So thank you. I'll see you guys later. Have yourself a great night and peace out.